Thank you everyone for joining us for part 3 of this 3-part series. And today we will cover internet scams and fraud during COVID-19. My name is Jeff Niebaum and I'm with Your Better Business Bureau, and I will serve as the moderator today and as well as a part presenter. But thank you so much for joining us because we have seen an uptick in scams and fraud ever since COVID-19 has happened. We have some great information about the type of scams that are going on right now and some valuable resources that will help you and protect you from being a victim. A couple housekeeping items to get started. You are on mute, so please leave yourself on mute. If you do have questions throughout, which we highly encourage, please use the chat function at the bottom of the screen. We will be interacting with you throughout the presentation. And to get started with that interaction, we want to find out where you're participating from. So I'm going to launch the first poll question right here on where are you participating from. So please take a couple seconds and fill that out. This just allows us to know where people are tuning in from so we can develop future programs to educate you on the top scams and fraud that are going on in the future as well. Give it a few more seconds. We almost got everybody, which is great. Awesome. Thank you so much for participating. A couple reminders that this webinar is being recorded. So we will send out not only this webinar, but every webinar that we've participated in the 3-part series to you at the end with the slides, so you can share with your family and friends and help be an ambassador for us. Well, we won't be able to put on this incredible program without an incredible partner, and that's exactly what AARP Nebraska is. We've been partnering for a few years now, and we just get so excited when they come to us and say, hey, let's partner for another program. We jump right on it. So I'm going to hand it over to my dear friend Devore Lanner, who's the Communications Director for AARP Nebraska, to say a few words and to introduce our speaker. Devore, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jeff, and greetings, everyone. And honestly, we also couldn't ask for a better partner than the Better Business Bureau to team up with us in our fraud prevention efforts. I know we have many AARP members with us this morning, and we are delighted that you are here. As Jeff mentioned, we'll learn today about many of the internet scams and fraud people are likely to encounter, especially those that are thriving in the current pandemic. In fact, COVID-19 has really created the perfect petri dish for a wide array of scams, exploiting people's fears in the uncertain times we're living in. Scammers are doing what they always do. They are capitalizing on the headlines as opportunities to steal our money and sensitive personal information. What's empowering is that research shows if you know about a scam ahead of time, you're 80% less likely to fall victim to it. Our mantra is that if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our featured speaker, Ron Werner. Ron is an instructor of cybersecurity at Bellevue University and chief security evangelist at Cyber AAA. Good morning, Ron.
Well, hello again, Devore, and hello, Jeff, and everyone who's able to join us from not only here in the heartland, across the United States, and even across the pond. This is an international crisis we are seeing with the COVID-19, not only what's happening with people's health, but the scams that are now taking place. Unfortunately, there's always the con artists who take advantage of the victims and go after us at our weakest moments. During today's quick presentation, we'll be talking about these types of scams and resources that you can use to help protect yourself. I really like that, Devore. The idea of if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam. You know, the play on words is great. That's what we want to help you do. Become aware of a potential scam. So let's go to a poll question. Have you seen a COVID-19 scam personally? Yes or no? If you're comfortable putting in the chat if you've actually been a victim of one, well, and if you, what type it was. We're not looking for you to out yourself or to tell us anything personal, but if you're comfortable, let us learn from what's happened to you. So if you'd be so kind, share your experiences if you've personally received a COVID-19 scam. Jeff, how are we looking with that?
We are looking good. We almost had full participation. Thank you, everyone. We're going to end the poll, and I'll share the results.
To most. So about 3/4 are saying no, a quarter is saying yes, which could be that they're being stopped in their tracks before they ever get to us, which is good. Maybe we've just gotten to be unconscious, or if we see one, we just automatically ignore it and hit the no button where it doesn't even register. Or it could just mean we haven't been a victim yet. You can see it, though, it's happening all around us, our neighbors, these COVID-19 scams. And these scams have been going on well before the coronavirus, by the way. A little later in the presentation, I'll talk about other methods where people are being scammed and losing their time and their money. During this talk, I'll give control to Jeff Niebaum from the BBB. He's going to talk about what they are seeing with these types of scams. And then AARP will give the point of view of older Americans, how we can help prevent older Americans from being scammed. I'll go through other types of cyber scams, both using technology and just the old con game, social engineering, and then what you need to do to stay cyber safe. Just last month, there was a TV news story, KMTV3, Channel 3 News, talked about the FBI, how they are warning of these scams. We're very blessed here in, I'm going to decline the control there. We're blessed here in the heartland. We have an outstanding FBI who is really on track with all of these types of scams. We have 8 special agents alone going after them. So very dedicated FBI here. And then nationally, recent story from Kim Commando, who's just fun to follow. I appreciate what she says to help protect people online. Her story from April 30th, 10 COVID-19 scams. When you receive these slides, I encourage you to go and look through these stories to use them as examples to what you need to do to protect yourself. And then as Jeff puts it from the BBB, you are an ambassador to your neighborhood. Help spread the word. So we do have one person who's not seeing the slideshow. Can everyone else see the slideshow? Okay, I'm getting a, thank you, Paul, getting a thumbs up. So, and Paul also mentioned colleague had a text from someone who he thought was a colleague, was in the ED at the hospital, emergency department, and of course turned out to be not to be a friend. He lost 20 pounds. So not very much. However, those little bits can mean a lot. So yes, those friend type of scams, they occur. What I recommend if you're having a problem seeing the screen, it should be showing by default, is going through the different settings within Zoom and seeing if you can be able to see my screen from it, because I'm sharing out a presentation. We're fortunate as well that the US government is really working hard to protect consumers. With money comes a lot of con artists. I mean, if you remember, what was his name? Willie Sutton, I believe. He was a bank robber in the 1800s. He was asked, so why did you rob the bank? And he's like, that's where the money is. Follow the money, right? With the incentives that are going out to consumers, means money, means more scams. So the IRS has a web page directly associated with the COVID-19 scams. You'll see some of the indicators right here. Yes, exactly. This is social engineering 101. They'll put the word stimulus check, and they're going to try to trigger your emotions. The social engineers are going to try to get you to be fearful. We're the IRS, and we're not going to send you your incentive check unless you do this. And of course, you're going to stop thinking and you're going to want to maybe click on something you shouldn't. So you can see the advice here. What we're also seeing, though, is as Jeff mentioned from the BBB. So Jeff, maybe you can explain what you're seeing from the BBB Scam Tracker for all the different types of scams and the types of scams and what we can use to better protect ourselves.
Yes, I'd love to, Ron. Some of the biggest scams that we're seeing, like I said in the beginning, we've seen such an uptick of scams online, and that's because people are home. People are online more. Scammers know this. And so we've seen a lot of scams from the consumer side and the business side of things. And for those of you who are still in business, one of the biggest scams that we saw was Zoom bombing in the beginning. And Zoom has done a wonderful job of combating that and upgrading their security issues to help protect businesses from becoming a victim of that. We've also seen a lot of just general scams. I mean, the scams that are happening right now are just, they have just changed a little bit to be surrounded by the COVID-19 kind of theme. And we've seen a lot of phishing scams. I'm sure if you check your inbox and your email, you will see at least 10 in your junk mail about phishing scams trying to get you to click on the link. Now, if you look on the far left, this is an email that, and all these examples are real examples that we've been pulled from our employees. If you look on the left, you have a phishing email that has that big headline, coronavirus masks are selling out. But there's some really good red flags to pay attention to here. One, punctuation. Some words are capitalized, some are not. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Also misspellings. If you look at the second word in the second sentence, take action. He meant take action. Now, I always kind of joke about it. If scammers would just hire a professional writer or an English professor, their scams would be a lot more effective. But don't tell them that. We'll keep it as it is. The second example, right in the middle of the screen, is a text message scam. And like we had that participant say in the text or in the chat box that he received text from somebody, that's the kind of text message we're seeing people getting. Here's $1,000 to support you through this crisis. All you have to do is click here. Social media scams are huge. And one thing we always try to educate is older adults might understand scams, but younger adults often are the ones who fall for the scams because they're too quick to click. So if you see a scam out there, please help educate your son, your daughter, your grandson, your granddaughter, because education is everyone's best defense. And what you'll see is quick hitting scams like the quarantine circle game. All you had to do is pay $100 to get into the circle. Once the circle was filled, the person in the middle would take their money and another circle would form. That's a pyramid scheme. So you'll see these really quick flashing scams that'll get in and get out, but they're very effective. So you have to stay diligent. IRS scams, that's nothing new. Hopefully everybody is educated about those, but scammers have known this because this COVID-19 crisis has taken advantage of the IRS scams because IRS, I mean, it's tax season, and IRS actually extended everybody's when they have to make their returns. So again, what are they trying to do? They're just trying to get you to click to fill out more information. Hijacking scams. This is an example of the Better Business Bureau's names being used. And cyber criminals use trustworthy resources to grab your attention. If you look at the from, it says BBB exclusive. And in the subject, it says antiviral hand sanitizer now available to our members. I'm just letting you know the Better Business Bureau has never been in the hand sanitizing game, and we probably won't, even though hand sanitizing stock has gone up about 1,000%. Down in the bottom right, business email compromise scams. The number one way scammers target businesses is through BEC scams. And you have an example of a payroll. The CEO with air quotes around that, is texting or is sending an email to their payroll person saying, hey, I switched my bank account. Can you switch it for me so I can get my direct deposit? Now, hopefully this business had double verification in process and they were able to stop this before it happened. But millions and millions of dollars get lost to BEC scams every single year. So you have to stay vigilant. You have to stay on top of everything, and it will stop you from becoming a victim. Now, if you have been targeted by a scam, even if you haven't, in our previous presentations, we've talked about Scam Tracker, a great resource and a great tool that the Better Business Bureau offers for free. And you're able to zoom in to your location, your state, your city, to see what type of scams are happening in your area. Because if you know what's happening, you're going to be better protected from it because you're going to know about it. And if you have been targeted by a scam, even if you haven't lost money, please report it so other people can know and remain scam-free as well. So bbb.org/scam tracker, a great tool to educate and protect yourself from falling victim to a scam. And I'll hand it over to Devore for AARP to talk about some of their resources that they offer for consumers. Devore?
Hey, thank you. Let me find the screen here. Okay. I'd first like to just point out our website for all things coronavirus related. This is kind of our central resource for information on coronavirus. I mean, everything from health information to information about how to file for unemployment benefits. We also, and I'll go into our other website soon, but we also have information about fraudulent scams related to COVID on this website as well. One thing I'd like to point out is that we hold a weekly coronavirus teletown hall on Thursdays at 12 noon Central Time, and we have the phone number here on the website that you can dial into. So I would encourage you to check that out. We have a lot of caregiving information for caregivers, family members concerned about their older loved ones or about themselves. We have wealth of resources, AARP's answers about coronavirus related to numerous topics, a lot of information about the stimulus checks, how safe it is to travel, etc. And the address is aarp.org/coronavirus. And of course, you'll be receiving all these resources after the session. The AARP Fraud Watch Network is our central resource for information about all things fraud related. And we have a number of resources for the public available to everybody. We have the AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline, and we have the number right here on the screen that you can call. And this is a national helpline that you can call and speak with very experienced staff and volunteers who, if you suspect a scam, they can kind of walk you through it, help you make references about where and how you should report a scam. And if you have a family member who you believe is being exploited, this is a great place to reach out to for assistance. We also have bi-weekly email fraud watch watchdog alerts that you can sign up for, and these will notify you about breaking scams. You can also receive those by text, and I will put in the chat window how you can be added to the text list. Similar to the BBB, we have a scam tracking tool that you can check out. We also have, and unfortunately, since I couldn't find my screen, I can't scroll down, but we have a fraud resource center with a number of tip sheets on a wide variety of scams, including coronavirus scams that you can print out. We also have a weekly podcast called this Perfect Scam Podcast, which is really interesting to listen to. A lot of personal stories and delves deeply into specific scams. The other thing I wanted to mention is, a lot of the scams that we are seeing at AARP, pretty much mirror what Ron and Jeff talked about. One scam that is, targeted to older Americans are scams attempting to get somebody's Medicare number for the purposes of identity theft. So, for example, with the government economic stimulus checks, you might get a phishing email, tells you to click on a link to find out about the status of your check, and then they ask you to provide your Medicare number in order to get access to that information. So that is an example of a variation of a government imposter scam that we have seen. There are also examples of fake pop-up testing sites that that might show up in your neighborhood. I don't know if I'm not aware of that happening in Nebraska. I know it's been happening in some parts of the country, and these can be very convincing. There are, of course, there've been a lot of fake websites peddling cures and vaccines that are non-existent. One example is there's a website peddling, I think, industrial bleach as a cure for the coronavirus. The Federal Trade Commission has shut down a lot of these websites over the last several weeks that have been just popping up like crazy.
But that's the AARP fraud network, huh?
Yeah.
Now, can anyone call into this number? Do you have to be an AARP member?
No, this is for anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, this is for the public at large. Yeah. No, it's not specific to AARP membership.
Outstanding. Well, thank you again for that information, Devore, about AARP. So for our older Americans, and then BBB for small, medium, and even large businesses, we really can learn. There are numerous types of scams regarding COVID-19, as both Jeff and Devore mentioned, with the medical supply, the providers, Medicare, the scams trying to get your Medicare number. So if someone's asking for a specific number about you, call timeout, ask, why do you need this? Can I call you back? And what's your name? Those little things, just being a little suspicious. The charity types of scams, please help out your neighbors, send money. And of course, they're asking you for access to your bank account potentially. The tracking app, we need to track you to make sure you don't have COVID. So is another type of a scam. And I'm seeing some questions here. So I've seen advertisements that allow you to speak to a live doctor during it. Yeah, so if it's not your doctor, I would not necessarily trust it. It could be a valid doctor, you don't know. But how do we know who is on the other end? So thank you, Deborah, for the question about that as a potential scam. Hey, you need to talk to a doctor, and they could be trying to scare you about it. Particularly with this tracking, we want to know where you've been to see if you've been in contact with someone with coronavirus symptoms. So be very suspicious of those, and they should only be coming from valid resources. Investment scams, it's actually a very traditional type of a scam. And then infection threats, scaring you here. We've seen 400 of your neighbors who have been infected. Click here to learn more. And they're trying to get you download some type of malicious software. There was a question earlier, and I want to encourage you to keep putting in chat your questions. We love it. They can be for me, Jeff, or Devore. Another one earlier asked about, are we seeing ads for scam websites on Facebook? Yes, we are. Facebook is doing a lot of due diligence to take these down as quickly as they can. But it's like build a better mousetrap and the mice get smarter. That's often what we are seeing. And it could often be because of other websites you've been to. It's not necessarily Facebook's fault. If you remember from Thursday's session, I talked about web trackers and cookies. It could be just leftover remnants from another website you were at. It's not necessarily associated with the social media, whether it's Reddit or Facebook or Twitter. So again, if something just does not feel right, back away. Good questions. There are numerous websites. We keep mentioning them. We'll share the slide deck out. The Federal Trade Commission has a whole website on this and their tip sheet. AARP has tip sheets as well. If you get a robocall and they're trying to, again, convince you, hang up, use the blockers as much as possible from your cell phone provider. We're seeing phishing texts now. I'll talk about that in a moment. So do your homework. So as I mentioned to folks, yes, I'm a college professor, and yes, I give homework even if you're not my student. Though I consider you all to be my students right now if you're here. My homework, though, is to help educate you, encourage you, hopefully keep you safer online. We need to touch briefly on other types of social engineering scams. Someone mentioned earlier in the chat about social engineering. It's just the old con game. You see the lottery, or how about this one? Hey, Devore, it's your, we're going to pretend I'm her son. Just play with me. It's just Ron, I'm traveling and I'm stuck in Paducah, Kentucky, and, my car broke down, and, and I really need you to send me money. Can you send me Western Union? That's exactly what they do. Now you're going to go, well, how did they know? And they'll know your son or daughter's name or a relative's name. How do they do that? Well, again, from Thursday, they research you. They do their homework. They'll find out everything they can about you on your social media. They'll find your friends and family's names, and then they'll direct the scam at you. And they can be very convincing. And when you try to hang up and so, wait, you're not so-and-so. I can't believe you're doing this to, and they put in a lot of emotion. They play act. I mean, it's crazy what they do. So what you do, you say, time out, I'm going to call you back. Or you ask only information that a relative of yours would know. Hey, do you remember that vacation we took a couple of years ago? And you see if they really remember. The example on the screen, the foreign lottery. Congratulations, you've won the coronavirus 2020 lottery. And they name a weird country. In order to claim your lotto ticket, you need to send us money. Of course, if you won something, they would not require you to send money. They're going to look very convincing. The United States National Lotto. There is no national lotto in the United States. It's all run by the individual states, the trans-global. So again, if it feels too good to be true, it probably is. A survey. These may seem innocuous. Will you please take our survey? And you begin to fill it out, and then the questions get more and more personal. And they may be trying to use it to social engineer you for other things. Do you have any children? What are the names of your children? Where did you grow up? And they'll ask, where did you grow up? Because that could be one of the secret questions, your high school. Be curious about surveys. I'll talk about money mules here in 1 minute. I have a special slide just for that because this is one that has affected my students. Explain what they are. And then tech support, I mentioned because my mom got scammed. Go figure. What is a money mule? It's someone who works from home. So we're seeing this now with the coronavirus, many people out of work, and they need to work remote anyway. So congratulations, you can work from home. You've already been pre-qualified for this type of a job. All we need is for you to send us your name, your social security number, your address, and we'll ask for previous job history, and we'll get you signed up. Well, a couple of things. One, they're going to steal your identity. Two, they're going to make you a mule. So what you're doing is you're transferring money to someone else. Or we've seen this with dating scams. They'll send you stolen goods. They steal someone's credit card. They buy a lot of goods off of Amazon or eBay or another shopping website, and they send it all to you as the money mule. And they say, oh, your job, you just need to take it from the big box and put it into smaller boxes and send it out to people, because then they send it to people who've bought the products, say on eBay or some other type of site that sells where you can sell it. That's a money mule. Go check out this website from the FBI. They have a special document. So it's part of the work from home schemes. You could be liable if you act as a money mule, by the way, because it is a crime. My talking with the FBI, they tend not to go after the money mules if you can prove you're a victim. But it's not good to be a victim anyway. They're going to try to convince you that it's a legitimate job, and it very well may not be. So my recommendation for any type of work from home, any type of job, talk to other people who've been there. Find out who they are through another means. Don't just ask for their references. If you say, give me 5 references, they'll just have you call their buddies. Find your own. And then tech support scams. It's, yes, this is Ron Werner calling for Jeff Niebaum. I'm with the Microsoft Tech Support, and we've just encountered that you have a virus on your laptop. We are noticing all sorts of malicious activity that you're sending to all of your neighbors, and we need it to stop right now. If you don't stop it, we're going to be deactivating your Windows 10. We'll take that type of a tone, and they're going to try to scare you. In order to have this eradicated from your PC, we need you to go to our special website. By the way, it's not going to be Microsoft. So it could be a website that looks like Microsoft. As I showed earlier, they can create ones that look very convincing but are completely false. What you do if you get a phone call like this, let me call you back. What's a phone number? Or I'm going to call Microsoft Tech Support. What's your name? I'm going to call, you find out their direct number, and you could say, I'm going to ask for you at Microsoft. So what's your extension if I call the Microsoft main line? They'll probably try to convince you that it won't work, which again, is probably some type of a scam. It could also be a pop-up, something like this. Windows Defender alert, Zeus virus detected on your computer. You need the following. This should be raising alarms, your password, your browser history, credit card, they want you to call in. Is that really Microsoft's phone number? Nope. It could be an email as well. I provided as a reference another fun website I really enjoy as a security professional called Leaping Computer. So I did see in the chat, just real quick, about romance scams. Yes, they will befriend you on a dating website, and they groom you. We see grooming, by the way, with money mules. We see this with child predators. So it's building the ego. Oh, sorry you lost your job. I'm here to help. They take that. Or the romance scam. They'll send pictures of beautiful people. That's not really them, but they'll pretend it's them. They may even provide a video. Yes, this is me. And the video may just have a voiceover saying your name, but they won't show the head while they're saying it. So romance scams. Fortunately, there's a lot of information. We've already showed you numerous sites. Oh, by the way, puppies tend to be a great way to catch people's attention. Why I put it in my slides. First of all, trust but verify. Think before you click. Stop, think, click. So if something doesn't seem right, hey, I just got something that feels weird. Stop for a second. From psychology, what you're doing is you're moving from your fast brain to your slow brain. It's okay to take a time out. This also works with salespeople. You've been with the pushy salespeople who are like, well, we have 14 other people looking at that right now. If you don't give me an answer in the next 2 minutes, someone else will get it. For me, that's usually when I say, see ya. If they're putting that much pressure, no. I like to take time making decisions. Same thing, how to defeat social engineering. Be skeptical. Check your bank statements. So let's just say you are looking for a new picnic table and you're looking at some of the hardware stores, Menards, Home Depot, Lowe's. And while you're looking there, you're seeing someone's buying power tools in your name. well, then you can stop it. It's like, wait, I did not buy any power tools. So you can contact the store directly. I'll have other places you can go. And then we already mentioned Better Business Bureau, AARP, if you suspect fraud. So check your statements. I'm often asked, do I need identity theft protection? Should I pay for it separately? If you're diligent in checking your statements and knowing what you're purchasing, where you're going on the internet, you're usually just fine without it. They can watch you on the dark web. Yeah, that's not always needed. It's kind of like an extra protection if you really feel you need it. But if you're just aware of what you're doing and checking your own stuff, you can be fine without it. Again, it's your call. When in doubt, ask. I'll say this. Ooh, pet scams from Dev. Yes. Buying puppies. You'll receive an email with all sorts of cute pictures of puppies and kittens, and please buy me. So here in Nebraska, check out the Nebraska Humane Society. I mean, they rock. Let's be honest. They are a fantastic organization. I'm a huge fan of them. So contact them directly if you think that pet scam. When in doubt, ask. Simplest, easiest way. Find somebody to ask. They don't have to be a cybersecurity expert. So it'd be like, hey, Paul, I just got an email from the IRS saying I'm not going to get my, second benefit check. What do you think? I see Paul's on the call and I appreciate him. Paul will then give me that second pair of eyes and ears and just, allow time for us to think, is this the right thing to do? Goes a long way. And then verify files, websites. You can do this again, BBB, AARP, and then back to last Thursday, virus total. Know where to go for help. Our government, local, state, federal, all provide help for you. BBB, AARP, can't say enough about them. Here in Nebraska, Protect the Good Life is our Attorney General website. You can always contact them for scams. Other states as well. I see we have some people from other states here in the U.S. Contact your attorneys general. Find out how they can help you for identity theft. If you are a victim, go to ic3.gov. It's .gov. ic3.gov for the FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center. Cybercrime Support Network they are not public, they're private, but their whole mission is to help victims. I know the lady who started it. She's actually been here to Nebraska, worked with the BBB in the past, and really her heart is in the right place, helping prevent and helping not only prevent, but if you are a victim, to help you. Stay safe online. National Cybersecurity Alliance, again, great resource. More information, protecting yourself, protecting your kids, your family, your loved one, and your business. At this point, we will ask you, what questions do you have? I'm loving what I'm seeing in the chat. And the question can be for myself or Jeff or Devore. So are there any particular scams anyone else is seeing? Or you need other ideas on what you can do if you think you may be a victim? I'll give it a moment to see if there are any other questions. And while we're waiting, Jeff and Devore, are there any parting thoughts you may have?
Well, Devore brought up a great scam not a great scam, but it's a very effective scam.
Maybe?
That is pet scams. We actually just launched kind of a relaunch of a study that we did on pet scams, and we found that about 85% of online ads are scams. So you really do have to do your research when searching for that pet online. Ron brought up a great point. Go local. Go to your Humane Society. Go to your local breeders, because you want to make sure especially when it comes to a pet, you want to see it. You want to feel that connection. And so, unfortunately, with people being home during COVID-19, this crisis, they've had more time on their hands, so they have resorted to getting pets, which is awesome. I'm a dog person. I have a great dog at home. But I went and purchased it from a natural breeder. Scammers are very smart and they're very good at tricking people and pulling on these emotional strings. So just be aware of that. Be vigilant when you are searching online, whether it's for a pet or anything else. Devore, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that especially for older adults who are, in quarantine, staying at home, some of them may be very lonely. They're even more susceptible to scammers who may be reaching out to them with a faux friendly phone call or, some kind of a romance scam. And also, we're really trying to, emphasize the importance of reporting a scam. If you suspect one or think you may have fallen victim to a scam, really need to eliminate the stigma surrounding, the victims who may feel a lot of shame that they have fallen victim to a scam or a fraud. So, reach out to the AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline, reach out to the BBB, to local law enforcement, the Nebraska Attorney General's office, to report a scam if you feel you've been victimized. Not only will it help you, but it will help everyone. And it allows the government to collect more accurate information about the scope of a fraud, and they can then warn the public about it. So I would just really encourage people not to hesitate to report.
You are a victim as if you are scammed.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people to help, and don't feel bad. It can happen to anybody. And this is what I've learned, even those who've been doing this for long periods of time. I talk to security professionals and they'll talk about their family who have been scammed, or they themselves who've clicked on phishing link. So it can happen. There's been a couple of other questions in the chat. Thank you so much. One, what are resources safe for church and nonprofits? This is where I really like to stay safe online. My information is available if you want to contact me offline, and I can provide you maybe with more directed resources to help those types of charity organizations like churches, making sure your computers keep safe online. And then another question came up about having any training for senior homes. So I don't know, Jeff and Devore, do you have anything specific regarding protecting yourself online for senior homes?
Devore, you can go first.
Okay, let's see if I'm looking at the question. I just want to make sure I understand the question again.
Could this training be available to senior homes?
Oh, to residents
Yes.
in senior homes. We would certainly consider it. Of course, now we're all kind of staying at home in quarantine, so we're not out publicly making presentations. But that is something that we could certainly look at doing.
And I know from a BBB perspective, we go out and do hundreds of presentations every year. And we often go to senior facilities to do them. And so whether you're a part of a senior facility or a church group or any other type of group, please feel free to reach out to us, because we'd love to come down and help education, because education is everyone's best defense. And if you just take 5 seconds to do research, you can avoid a lot of scams. You can avoid a lot of time, a lot of money, and most importantly, a big headache. So research, research, research. But please feel free to reach out to us. I put the BBB's contact email in the chat function, and Ron Warner also put his contact information as well. So please reach out to us. There's so many great resources out there that are free, and so take advantage of them. Ron or Devore, did you have anything else to add?
Seeing in the chat, we were actually supposed to do this live throughout Nebraska. We were going to go to senior residences and different locations in Omaha, Lincoln, Grand Island, and Norfolk. And unfortunately, we had to resort to online like so many other organizations. That's not to say, though, we can't come back out and do this and help educate seniors helping other seniors. I see that in the chat. We want that. People who go and help others, we want to educate them, and then they can educate. And it really has a nice downhill flow to help many others. So going out to, say, St. Paul's United Methodist Church, I've actually been asked by my pastor to give presentations about protecting parishioners online, protecting kids online. So just looking through the chat, hasn't been mentioned, knowing what your credit card company's bank policies regarding fraud. Yes. So knowing your bank, contact your bank directly regarding fraud if you suspect you are the victim. Most banks like Capital One, like Chase, I'm also with USAA, they are very diligent with this. They actually let me know when my credit card was used before I knew that someone was using it fraudulently. So contact your bank directly. They have whole departments, the large banks, dealing just with fraud. So thanks
again. Question, Ron,
yes.
In the chat. Well, not much of a question, but looking for information about maybe possibly going into cybersecurity. You might know a university or a contact that could help them out with that. Could you elaborate a little bit?
There are many opportunities. About 75% of organizations in the U.S. are looking for cybersecurity professionals. We don't have enough in the pipeline. Here in the Midwest, we actually have numerous universities who are sanctioned as centers of academic excellence in cybersecurity defense, including around the area like Iowa State, Kansas State, Dakota State. But here in the Omaha metropolitan area, we have Northeast Community College, we have Metropolitan Community College, University of Nebraska, Omaha, and then where I teach is Bellevue University. We're diligently trying to work and build more people into the cybersecurity career field. Good question. Numerous resources.
I don't see any more questions right now. So if you had anything to add, Devore or Ron?
I am good. Just be safe, everyone. Hopefully you took away a few little nuggets from this that you can use and spread the word through your community. We appreciate it.
Awesome. And just to wrap things up, I want to thank Ron for presenting in this three-part series and being flexible. Due to the crisis, like he mentioned, we had to move this online. And it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you. Once again, the education you bring participants is above and beyond. And Devore, thank you to AARP Nebraska for, again, being such a great partner of ours. And we couldn't have done this without you. And finally, to everybody who's participated in this three-part series, thank you, because you have taken that step to get educated. And like it's been mentioned multiple times, education is your best defense. So we've listed some great resources throughout the three-part series. So please take advantage of that. Like I mentioned in the beginning, all of our presentations have been recorded and the slides are going to be made available. I will be sending out an email with everything in one email tomorrow, so be looking for that. And again, as we try to emerge from this crisis, we have to stay vigilant and we have to stay on our toes. And please help share what you've learned with your family and friends so they can be protected as well. I'm Jeff Neva. I'm with the Better Business Bureau. Thank you for participating, and we'll see you soon.